Shut up and play, will you please? Shut, be quiet and play.
ESPN's Chris Mad Dog Russo, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, former coach turned broadcaster Jeff Van Gundy. With the recent shakeups at ESPN, Russo, a longtime sportscaster, gave his opinion on what he believes went into Van Gundy's ouster, and he blames it on Silver. Russo would say on a show, and there's no way in hell I'm doing an impression of him, let me put it this way, I can't fathom the idea that ESPN in these layoffs would fire Jeff Van Gundy. You're not going to convince me that ESPN and Disney boss Bob Iger woke up in the last 2 weeks, looked at the budget sheet, and said, we got to fire Van Gundy because we got to save some money. Russo would say, if this was indeed what went on, they should fire Mark Jackson as well. Russo would continue in his diatribe, fire the both of them, save real money, bring one guy in and pay him half. If you really wanted to go out there and save money with your NBA crew, which you could have done, is fired both of them and just hired Doc Rivers and paid him half of what those two were making. You could have saved a fortune and done a two-man booth. You could have easily have done that. This is where he says it had to have come from a higher up like Adam Silver. He excoriated the decision-making on this. That leads me to the conclusion that someone in the league office must have told ESPN, I want Van Gundy out. We all know he's biting. We all know he gets on the officials. We all know he doesn't hold back with his NBA opinions. He tells you what he thinks, which is what a great broadcaster is supposed to do anyways. What is going on right now in the negotiation scenario? ESPN and NBC and TNT, what are they doing? They're all negotiating with Commissioner Adam Silver and the NBA. So if you're asking me, little talk show host, which he is not, who may not know a thing, which he does, this is just my opinion. Silver is the one who fired Van Gundy. Silver told ESPN, I want him out. You want to do the games in the next contract? I don't want Van Gundy doing the games. I don't want him knocking the league. I want a pom-pom guy in there, excuse me. There's a few points on this, okay? And I understand where Mad Dog is coming from. This is also a way of generating a headline through pure speculation, which many in sports media do. Now, is it possible? Yes. I do believe there is a pick and choose element, especially with the NFL having so many ex-players who were on Jerry Jones's teams that then go on to national prominence, sitting at the desk or calling games because they always say what? Former Cowboys player Daryl Johnston, former Cowboys player Tony Romo, former Cowboys player Marcus Spears. I believe, this is my opinion now, I do believe there is preferential treatment for America's team, when really it was the Pittsburgh Steelers. We covered that story. Check it out on demand. Second, we have seen the erosion of sports media over time, with less criticism, and more ass-kissing than ever. Yeah, it existed previously, but watchdog journalism is flat out decaying. And now it has morphed into, we don't want anyone who's critical. The athletes, coaches, team management, GMs, presidents, owners, vice presidents, presidents of basketball operations, blah, blah, blah. What do they want? Curried favors, soft interviews, lack of hard-hitting questions. That is what we have become. And meanwhile, Colin Cowherd called the move a head-scratcher. Ryan Russillo called Van Gundy the best NBA game analyst by a mile. So I ask you, what gives?